Welcome back to the channel.
Today we are talking about our best Disney moments of 2023.
If you like this kind of content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch the full podcast, anywhere you download your podcast, you'll find us under Awkward Chats.
Come get lost with us. Welcome back to the podcast, everybody.
First podcast of 2024.
We are so excited to be starting 2024 off. 2023 was a great year, and we've been doing some self-reflection over the last couple months, couple weeks, and just trying to think, like, what were our favorite moments? What were our best moments? You know, maybe there were some moments that weren't so great, but we tried to narrow them down and to kind of compile a list of things that we thought were some of our top moments of 2023. And we felt that January was kind of one of the best times to kind of start delving into that.
Yeah, 2023 was an interesting year. We had a lot of ups, a lot of fun adventures. At the same time, we got to experience a lot of things on the other side that probably weren't as fun. But everything I feel like was a learning experience. I mean, we
learned so much last year.
Right. We started really traveling the year before, right? So we got into our really traveling, went to New Orleans. We really started traveling for Nacy's work probably about the end of 2022. But that was kind of it. 2023 was our real like trial year of doing that completely all the time. And it was a journey. It was a journey. I think at times it was definitely stressful, just not because we love the YouTube stuff, actually. That's honestly one of the best parts about traveling.
It keeps us going.
It was just the fact of being away from home for so long, and so long, that it was kind of crazy.
There were points, I think, that I wasn't sure where I really lived anymore because so literally, just to kind of give you guys a little bit of an insight, we left our house October 20th, and we did not come back to our house until December 20th. 2 months.
She's kind of underselling to the fact of like not knowing where you live. Like there were times where we felt like we lived in South Carolina and we felt like Las Vegas was just a short
Airbnb.
short little stay. And we live in Las Vegas for those that don't know. Well, our stuff, I should say, is in Las Vegas.
Our stuff, our storage.
So it was weird because we were in South Carolina one day and we knew the roads in South Carolina so well. It's like, do we live here now?
Yeah, we didn't even need GPS. We're just driving around like, oh, it's over there. Oh, we're going to take this road. Oh, there's traffic over here. Let's cut over here. And don't get me wrong, South Carolina was an interesting experience. We got to see, honestly, I think we saw the entire state. Except for maybe Hilton Head. I think Hilton Head was like the only place we didn't really go.
We saw all of the continental part of the United States of that state. Yeah, we didn't go to any of the islands.
Yeah.
Just because that's a trip that we
just didn't take.
Well, we didn't want to. We were going to at one point, but it was so expensive.
And we had an opportunity to come home at one point when we were going to go do that. And we decided to come home because, again, we just weren't home. And when we did come home, we were only home for like 7 to 10 days at a time. And it just didn't feel like enough time to just kind of settle back into your space. And that was probably one of the most challenging things, I think, from last year. And we had a lot of great adventures. We got to see family. We got to see friends. I mean, there was a lot there, but we definitely were homesick.
Well, I think, too, if you factor in the air flights, we saw every probably square inch of the continental United States last year.
Pretty much, yeah, because we started off the year in Seattle.
Right, just how the planes flew, like how the planes would fly to Seattle. We'd see everything. And then when we flew to Florida, in Atlanta, they would go over the Gulf of Mexico.
We went to New York.
Those states. And then there were multiple times coming from Atlanta to Las Vegas that it would fly over the middle of the country. And we'd see like Oklahoma. We saw Oklahoma on the last trip back here. You know, so it's like we probably saw, and we're technically in just about every single state probably last year. That's a continental. We didn't obviously hit Alaska or Hawaii.
Yeah.
But, you know, that's a different beast.
Which it was fun. It was a lot of adventures, and honestly, I think I appreciated last year. I don't think there's anything I would change for the most part. It was all a learning experience, and I hope to take that into this year and just make 2024 even better. And we've got so many big ideas, like so many ideas. I wish I could tell them all to you over here, but there's a lot of things in the works that we're both really excited about.
Yeah, and in doing that, we upgraded our equipment. So, like our YouTube camera, check that out. It'll be on our YouTube channel, Lostgirlintomorrowland. We'll be doing like a whole.
We built this studio that we're currently in.
Yeah, and if you want to see all of our like studio equipment, what we use for cameras, that's going to be coming out in February. We're going to do like a what we use type of video.
We're going to do some deep dive behind the scenes of.
And it'll include all of our podcast stuff too.
So yeah, anybody can, honestly, if you're listening to this and you're thinking about doing it, starting a YouTube channel, starting a podcast, starting a blog, starting TikTok, Instagram, I would tell you just do it. Honestly.
Yeah.
You have nothing to lose. And because to post, to literally create something and post it, it doesn't cost you anything in the sense.
I mean, it does. Let's not lie to people like other YouTubers do. It costs you money. There are things you'll have to get. You'll have to get a microphone. You have to get some way to record the microphone, and then you have to get some way to record video. That's it, simply. If you want to do it as simple as possible. And all those things are going to cost you money. It depends on what you want to do, where you want to go. That's how much it'll cost you.
And how much of an investment you want to make. Yeah. I would agree. But I think if it's something that you want to do and you've been thinking about it, I would say 2024 is your year. You should dive in and you should try. I mean, why not?
Agreed. Yeah. I mean, that's basically what we did 4 years ago. Well, you did it 4 years ago, and then I dived in probably 3 years. But, it's kind of all we did. We just went for it. And I think that's the biggest lesson. And the other biggest lesson is it's going to be hard.
Yeah, it's not easy.
It's going to be hard. It's a lot of work. You don't see all the behind the scenes stuff, all of the editing, all of the hours figuring out thumbnails and pictures, and then where do we go next?
And it's a marathon too, because you create this product, whether it be a podcast, a YouTube video, a short, whatever it is, you create this product and you put it out there into the world, and then you wait. And you wait to see what the response back is. And a lot of times, and I would say almost 9 times out of 10, especially leading up through the last 3, 4, 5 years, you don't get a lot of payback from it. You get a little bit, but you don't get a lot. And I think you have to have the drive to continue to push through that. Like, don't quit. Like when you see like, okay, well, I put out 10 videos in the last 2 months and they only got like 10, 15 views. Cause those were the days. Those were the beginning days where like they got like 5 views. They got 8 views. And you're like, okay, well, nobody's watching this. And you have to have the drive to continue to like wake up and do it and want to do it and not quit. And I think that was last year for us, was like, there was a lot of moments I think where we had to come back to the drawing board and be like, this is what we want. We want to keep pushing. Like we want to keep doing this. Because being away from home as much as we were was a lot. And finding all the time to do the things we wanted to do was a lot.
Yeah, so I wouldn't call it a marathon. I think that's disingenuous when podcasters and YouTubers call it a marathon. I would call it an Ironman because it's far more than just running. You're pooping yourself. You're barely making ends meet.
You're trying to swim.
You're trying to transition from that swim into that run. You're trying to transition from that bike to whatever. And I probably put it out of order, so I'm sorry, Ironman people are going to be in the comments. I get it. I got that wrong. But I feel like it's more of an Ironman journey. It's not a marathon. I think it's disingenuous to say that because there's different like stages. Right, and there's different stages too. You have the ones where you put out a couple vlogs and you get like 2 or 3 views. And now we're kind of in the step where all of our vlogs get about 50 views. So it's slightly better, but it's not great, Yeah. So we're kind of on the biking or whatever now, but we still have the swimming in front of us. It's just, I feel like it's more like Ironman. And it's probably even more than that. It's probably like a super Ironman or something. I mean, it's just kind of like a lot of stuff comes at you.
But I will say this, probably one of the most encouraging things that I have found in the last 5 years of doing this is looking back at the years prior and seeing the growth within the year, not, boiling it down like to a microscopic level, but seeing the big picture and seeing the growth over time, because it's not tomorrow, unless you're somebody who has a big following or already is established somewhere in a social media context. Or
you came out of the right parents with a lot of money.
It's hard. Like, yeah. So you have to be willing to see the growth on the bigger picture. And I think that's kind of been what I have enjoyed looking back on, is like seeing like, okay, In 2018, we had less than 100. Well, I think we hit 100 subscribers in 2018. Because that was really the first year that I started doing this, where I was doing mostly Disney content. And then from 100 to 300 was like 2 years.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there was COVID and
We moved to New
York, and we weren't really sure where the channel was going to go. I didn't have a whole lot of time. Literally, I had no time. I was gone all the time working. And then when we moved back out to Vegas, then like probably the last month or so we were in New York, we kind of started to really say like, okay, what do we want to do with this? Like, do we want to keep doing this? And we decided on that journey to Vegas to just kind of jump in head first and see where we come out at. And here we are in 2024. And last year we had 1,000 subscribers, which was huge for us.
Yeah.
Huge. We broke that barrier, only to find that there are now like 3 more barriers to kind of get through on this journey. But we're not going to let it discourage us because, again, we have some exciting adventures planned and exciting plans to get us through those things and to try. Because at this point, it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's a trial and error at this point. We're going to try it, see if it works, give it some time. If it doesn't work, we move on to the next thing. We just keep trying.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things with the whole like plateaus and stuff that we hit, once you get past 1,000 subscribers, that's step 1. And then to get to like 8,000 is the next big step they have to get to so that it'll actually start showing us to other people. So then it's like that grind comes up. And it's interesting. It's just interesting. I think it's fascinating. I was reading a book. It's a YouTube book, and it was talking about how to create good YouTube content. And it had an introduction by Mr. Beast in it. And it was funny reading his words. It's like, oh yeah, I could get rid of my YouTube channel today and be in 1 million subs by the end of the week. Of course you could.
You're Mr. Beast.
Right. It's not that you're Mr. Beast. It's that you know Tom Brady.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, just think of all their followers. All they got to do is share one of your videos. And true, not every single one of their followers sees every single share, but a good portion does.
Right.
And so if you have 5 or 10 people who have 1 million followers and they all share, that's 6 million opportunities to be seen.
Exactly.
And if only 1,000 of those join in, you're already monetized.
Yep.
So don't listen to the big YouTubers. What I'm saying is don't listen to those big YouTubers or podcasters where they're all like, oh yeah, it's so easy. The algorithm favors us. It does. But it does favor the big people. It doesn't favor the small people. So you got to remember that. So it's a really, really big grind to get there. And
another interesting statistic that I heard last year that definitely gave us a lot of encouragement. It was interesting, was that less than 8% of people on YouTube are monetized.
Yep.
Think of how many channels are on the YouTube sphere, and less than 8% of those qualify.
Yeah.
And are being monetized.
Right.
Doesn't matter if you make $5 or you made $5,000.
Right.
You fall into that sphere, and now our channel falls into that sphere.
Well, monetization is different between views and everything. That's a whole nother beast.
Right.
That maybe we'll talk about one day on the podcast.
But yeah, so I heard that statistic and I was like, okay, all right. Well, I have definitely done something.
Most people can't. Yeah.
Most people can't.
The thing is, you see these YouTubers and they have like occasional videos that have like 1,000 views or 100,000 views, but then you look into it and they have like either no followers or they only have a few videos worth of content. So it's difficult, even though there's occasionally, and then they give up because it doesn't take off.
Some of them too can't get monetized because of the content that is on their channel.
Right.
So they run into that. And when I say monetized on YouTube, that is being paid by YouTube ads. So there are other ways that you can monetize your channel, not through YouTube ads.
Right.
But that also reflects back to what Gary says. You have to have a following, you have to have connections, you have to have brand deals, which hopefully one day will come along for us at some point. We've got some strategies to kind of field how that's going to go in the next year or so. But yeah, to think that we are in this rare bracket of people, 1, who started a YouTube channel, 2, who got monetized by YouTube, that's pretty rare.
Yeah.
So.
And doing that, we've had some best of this moments throughout the year that we're going to talk about. And I think the first one we'll talk about is our good old favorite.
Disney.
Disney.
So, do you want to start or do you want me to start about it?
You can start.
So, okay. So my best Disney moment for me was Was I the first one or the second one? I think I'm the second one.
Doesn't matter. Just take them.
Well, we actually both really liked both of these moments.
Right, exactly.
So they're both near and dear to us. So I guess we could probably both talk about both of them because we probably have our own inter-reflections on them. But going to...
She'll get to eventually, folks. Just hold on.
Going back to Magic Kingdom and writing Tron. I think that was pretty cool. Going back to Magic Kingdom was pretty huge, just outside of the channel altogether, because when we left Orlando in 2019, December of 2019, first of all, nobody knew what was coming around the corner. We were all blind to it, and that didn't factor into that day, but we had just given all of our stuff to the movers that morning. They packed it up into a truck, and we were like, okay, we're going to Magic Kingdom.
It was the day prior.
Oh, it was the day before. Yeah. So day before they came, they packed up the truck. We signed the paperwork, all that jazz. They were supposed to call me that day to get the credit card information because the mover said they didn't have one of the little portable credit card machines to collect the payment. Okay. Now I know that was not the avenue I should have gone, but we were literally in Tomorrowland. I get the phone call from the moving company telling me that they don't accept credit card as payment. So that meant our protection in terms of paying for this move was gone, and that they would only take cash or a wire transfer, which, if you know anything about business transactions, means you have zero protection in terms of getting your money back outside of taking somebody to court. And even then, there's a lot of things that fall into moving with interstate laws. So, completely devastating moment inside Magic Kingdom. And that was our last day in 2019.
Yeah, and for all those out there, we're going to have a bunch of haters in the comments. All the paperwork said they took credit card. We looked at it beforehand. We made the guy show us. It was literally in the contract we signed. And when the guy called us, he claimed that was an old contract and they no longer go by those terms. And the reason why, let's just straight out say, we used Roadrunner Moving.
Yeah.
And they were scammers. So if you used the credit card, you could charge back. And you would do that because we would have done it. We would have charged back when we got it. That's a whole nother episode.
Yeah, we'll get into the details of that move later. But that
it just ruined our day at Disney because it was like we were there, we had just gotten into the parks, we had just grabbed a quick bite to eat, and then we were over by the motorway. And this was before the Tron stuff, so it was still running. No,
I think we were somewhere around the People Mover.
Yeah, I want to say we were over by the motorcades, but I don't know if they were working because Tron was being built at the time.
Yeah,
it was in the early stage because I
just remember
Pluto,
the bathrooms.
Reading it, yeah. And so we're sitting there, and we thought, oh, this is going to be a piece of cake call. She's just going to give them the credit card information. Then we're going to finish our day out. Not a big deal. And it just blew up to this nightmare scenario. We had to leave the park. We had to get back to our car. We had to run to Publix and get stuff. And then it was
terrible. It was absolutely, I was talking to this guy on the phone, and I couldn't talk anymore. I just emotionally shut down, and I just handed Gary the phone. I was like, I can't. I'm like, I don't know what else to say to this person. And of course, panic sinks into your head because you're like, I don't know where my stuff is. I don't know if I'm ever going to see it again. They literally held our stuff for ransom.
Yep. It was in Miami at the time. And they said that we would have to go to Miami and pick the stuff up if we wanted it. And we'd still have to pay them either way for them to release it.
Pack up our car, and we had to be on the road in the next 24 hours and be out of our apartment.
Yep.
So that was
our conclusion to Magic Kingdom, and that's why when we went back, we were definitely feeling it when we entered the park. By the way, you could
There's
feel
a little apprehension.
Is it? It can't be this bad. And then of course I got stopped by security because that's how it rolls.
He always gets stopped by security.
So got stopped by security. So it's already like a poo-poo thing. But once we got in the park, and honestly,
it felt like home.
I don't know if it felt like home, but when we got to the fire station and seeing the old place where they used to play the Sorcerers of the Magic Kingdom, which I wish Disney would bring back. Something
I know,
like
it was so much fun.
Just being there and being like that, I was like, this is, I like this place, it's fun. It's a fun place to be.
Yeah, it was emotional. I didn't cry, and I think the only reason I didn't cry is because we had gone to Disneyland in the interim since COVID. So this wasn't like my first time walking back on Main Street. Granted, it was a different Main Street. I get that. But I was emotional, but I wasn't like boohoo crying emotional. I was just like, okay, this is good. I can like right this wrong feeling that I have in my gut about Magic Kingdom.
Well, and we had went to Epcot too about a month or two prior. So we had been in the Magic Kingdom area. We just hadn't been able to go to Magic Kingdom.
Yeah, we went to Disney in August for a conference.
Yeah.
And we just decided to do one park day because it's a lot. It's a lot if you don't have an annual pass to go to Disney. I mean, even just the 2 park tickets that I paid for in December, I paid almost $2,000.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy, Disney. Your prices are crazy.
Which is insane for no park hoppers,
Yep.
for 2 adult tickets for 2 days to 2 parks.
Yep.
Like what? Almost well, maybe it wasn't 2,000, maybe it was like 1,000, but still, it was a lot of money.
Yeah, it was 1,000, and it was only 1 park. She said 2 parks there. We only went to 1 park.
We went to Epcot. We did the Festival of the Holidays.
We went to 1 park, Epcot. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, we did back in August. I was talking about December. We went to 2 parks.
December we did go to 2. Oh, you were
yeah.
talking about, I'm sorry. I thought you were still talking about, you switched topics. Okay.
That's me, guys. I'm all over the place. See if you can keep up. But yeah, so when we went back in December, it was the holidays, which honestly, too, if you go back to like our first time, when Gary and I went to Disney together for the first time, it was the holidays. It was the holidays at Magic Kingdom. We have a picture of us on Main Street.
With those pretty castle lights. Need to bring those back, Disney.
It was disappointing not seeing the castle lights. That was probably really sad. But the cool thing was we had boarding passes to get on Tron.
Mm-hmm. And we got a pretty early group, too.
Yeah. Yeah, we were on it. I think we were on and off it by like lunchtime.
We were on and off it by 10. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
and it was a gloomy day.
It was which is actually kind of nice in Florida's scheme of things. Sometimes a gloomy day is nice because you don't get the beating sun on you.
Mm-hmm. But Tron was a lot of fun. After watching it be constructed for so long, because it was under construction before we left.
Mm-hmm.
They started construction in 2017.
It looked like it was almost done when we left.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. And then it took forever to open.
Yeah, that was weird. But coming back to the parks, having that and getting on Tron and just kind of coming full circle from something that we watched get built. And, we watched a lot of vloggers go back and kind of give the updates. But it was really cool to be there, physically be there, and to be on the ride. And honestly, I like the ride. I will say this, the ride could be longer. And the ride could be maybe a little more accommodating in the seating. I understand it's built the way that it's built because of where it originated from. And I am appreciative of the accommodating seat in the back because it does allow people to ride it that can't fit on the bike style. So I think that is great that they did that because there's several rides at Disney that currently don't have that accommodation that certain people and populations can't ride.
Yeah, I mean, I guess I thought they did a good job with the accommodation. So my thought was it's a great ride. It was so fun just standing there watching them shoot off, and then the color change. It would look amazing at night. Honestly, if I had an annual pass, hanging out there at night and getting some like time lapses and stuff, that's totally something we're gonna do if we move back there and sort of pursue that angle. Well, we got there, we watched them launch. The one thing that I took away from it, and I know you'll probably agree with me, the ride is really short.
Yeah, it's short.
To be such a cool ride, and I was fine with the accommodations, so I couldn't fit in the bikes. Nacy could, though. I couldn't fit in the bikes, so we had to sit I had to sit, and then she joined me in the little bucket seat, and it's okay.
I'm not going to ride the bike without him.
It's not like, I've rode motorcycles my entire life, since I've been 16. So it's not, I've rode a motorcycle, an actual motorcycle. I've gone 200 miles per hour, not 60, which is as fast as a car goes.
Which maybe he should tell you about that story someday.
So that doesn't, I get the feeling of flying that you get with motorcycles and stuff because I actually ride one. I don't need a back piece to lock me in. But it's an okay roller coaster. I liked it. I liked the launch. I just wish it was a little longer after the launch.
I feel like it was like after that launch, it kind of was over.
Yeah.
You just kind of go around a couple corners and then you're like, all right, cool, I'm done.
I felt like it was kind of a cheaper rocking roller coaster once you got in the building.
Yeah.
Like, because you don't, and it's even less because Rock and Roll has loop-de-loops, and I'm pretty sure you don't go upside down on that ride. So.
No. Rock and Roller Coaster is still the only coaster you go upside down in Disney World.
I see. He's almost
I almost said Disney property, but no, Disney World.
Because in Incredicoaster, you go upside down.
No, Incredicoaster was fun. But that's another conversation.
But it's a fun ride, and I love doing it, and I love that I was able to get up and get the boarding passes. We got those without any problems.
Did you get them?
I did. Yeah, that was
Yeah,
the one
because I
Macy slept in.
I overslept. Don't know how I did it, but he's like, "Hey, I think you missed it." And I was like, "What?" And I looked at my phone. I was like, "Oh no!" And he's like, "It's okay, I got it." I was like, "Thank you."
Yeah.
I was tired.
Yes, it was. The thing is, we love Disney, but every time we go, it's work for the channel. So we're doing like 10 to 20 videos a week.
We filmed like 15 videos on that visit.
Yeah, easily.
Between all the dining, all of the different things we did at Epcot. We did park open to park close at Epcot, and we haven't done that in years.
Yeah, and that wasn't on purpose. We didn't plan on staying at Epcot all day.
Yeah.
We actually were just like, whenever we get done, we get done. And we just kept adding more stuff and adding more stuff and adding more stuff. And
it took a lot longer to do the cookie stroll than we originally anticipated. It took a lot longer to do some of the food booths and walk around. And then we wanted to do Olaf's frozen scavenger hunt. And that took... Because once the sun goes down, man, that's hard.
Yeah. We are going to talk about that, like free things to do at Disney on some of our other podcasts. So definitely subscribe to our Awkward Chats.
Yeah.
I know a way to do it for free. But it is so cool. But once it gets dark, that really does increase the difficulty level. So if you want a really hard challenge, do it after dark.
Night.
Yeah,
do it at night. But yeah, so we ended up staying till park closed. But yeah, going and checking out Tron was honestly a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Mm-hmm.
Now, what I was going to talk about, my experience.
Return of the rat.
Baby.
Return of the rat.
Oh, no.
Return of the rat. Bow, 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 bow. Anyways.
But the first time we got to ride Ratatouille, so that was our first time back at Disney World in like 4 years.
Yep.
So we went to our Epcot day. We got the return time for Remy. We ended up even going on Guardians that day. So it was a Guardians and Ratatouille day. But Guardians is interesting. It's just the one thing I'll say about it is it's
like space, but not.
I wouldn't even give it. It's a newer space. My thing is, if the animatronics were in it, I would like it. But it's just so cheaped out. You can tell. It's just so cheaped down.
I still like it.
You just have screens. And it's like, okay, I'm just looking at a TV screen. Cool. That's
the first time we rode Guardians, though, I did get motion sick because I didn't have anything in my stomach because we were like, oh crap, we got to get there because it's almost time for our boarding group, and we were staying close to Epcot that trip.
Yeah, we got the Swan and Dolphin that day. But again, like, I'm not poo-pooing the ride. If you want to ride it, it's a fun ride. It's just, it should have been better, is my opinion.
Yeah.
Whereas Ratatouille is the whole ride. It was made
so
for a
good.
different park, so they transitioned it there, which has its own. If you feel, I understand if you don't like that. I get that too, because that is kind of cheating rides, but that's Tron too. But it was so fun riding it, and like the immersive of it. It's kind of weird that there's some French and some English there, and so that's kind of different, I guess.
Yeah.
But I liked riding it.
I love Ratatouille.
I think it's up there as probably one of my favorite Epcot rides. Epcot rides have some really interesting ones. Like, I do love Frozen. I do love Ratatouille, and then I do love Mission Space. I do love those 3 rides.
I love my Soarin'.
And Soarin's a great ride too. So they have some really good rides at Epcot.
Nemo.
And then I wouldn't say that's a great ride though.
Nemo.
I will not say that's a great ride. Sorry.
Imagination.
Figment's a great character. I don't know if that ride's great. But then you top Epcot with the rides and then the food.
Yeah.
It is one of the better parks for adults. That's for sure.
And it's weird because I don't feel like when I lived in Orlando that I gave Epcot enough credit.
Well, it's because we didn't have money to eat when we were there. That's the thing. Epcot's a very expensive park. I mean,
yeah, it adds up.
I mean, just the food booth we went to, we had shrimp and we had the crab claws, and that was like $50.
Yeah, it was
50
$20 bucks a piece for each one.
So
yeah.
it was like $50, and it was like, this is crazy. This is a food
Some
booth.
bougie shit.
And you got what, 3 or 4 shrimp, and then you got like 3 crab claws.
Yeah.
Which is weird because you should get 4. I mean, they have 2 on each, but anyways,
It was tasty. It was tasty. I'll give them that.
That's what we said. We said it's good food. It's just expensive.
Yeah, it was interesting. But yeah, I loved writing Ratatouille, and we wrote it again when we came back in December, and it was just as fun.
And Guardians, we wrote Guardians too.
We didn't get motion sick the second time. I think I might have got like a scratch at the end, but it wasn't anything that I was like, oh God, I'm gonna puke.
Well, the trick is you got to eat something, but just not a lot.
Yeah.
And then
you got to focus on something.
Yeah. Yeah. And the thing too is like the first time you ride it, you won't know where to look. And that's part of the motion sickness because you're kind of like looking around like, where am I supposed to look? Where am I supposed to look?
Yep.
So then after the second time, you're kind of like, oh, I kind of understand.
Okay, I know what to do here. All right.
I know there's the earth in the middle. That's basically all that's in that one scene for like the most of the ride. And you're just like, woo, there's the earth.
But it is like watching the videos about the Turtle Crush roller coaster that's at the Disney overseas parks. I can definitely see the resemblance.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And it's not really that extreme of a coaster if the stuff didn't spin like it does. So the spinning definitely adds that extra kind of like flair to make it a little more
especially with
crazy.
The screens. You have the spin with the screens and it's not real and your eyes are like, I don't know what's happening. And it's just, there are people who can't do screens. There are people that I know that can't do Pandora because it's screens, can't do Soarin' because it's screens, and it just makes them dizzy and they don't feel good.
So again, that was probably my favorite trip to Disney and kind of our thing to do. And then you add on top that we stayed at the Swan and Dolphin during that trip, which then again put it above because
that was
we're going to talk about best hotels and a little spoiler. That's definitely going to be one of the best hotels last year. But just a great stay. It was a great stay overall, and like everything worked out. And then riding that ride that I had been wanting to ride because we saw that when we were leaving. We would take the Skyliner because the Skyliner opened up right before we left. And you'd take the Skyliner, and there it was the whole time.
Yep.
Ready to be open, but they just wouldn't open it. And then it took forever for them just to be like, okay, we're finally open,
Yeah. Yeah. It was a good trip. They were both good trips in their own right. We did separate things really kind of for both of them, but they were good trips and we got to experience some good things.
Yeah. So if you want to hear the rest of our best of list and you're on YouTube, you got to head over to Awkward Chats on any of your favorite podcasts.
And
if you like this video, hit that thumbs up.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button.
And ring that notification bell so you get notified when we do at least 3 videos a week.
And we'll come and get you guys for the next one.
Ain't that the truth, baby Ruth?
Bye, everybody.
We'll see you all in a minute, Awkward Chats.